Prudent Scholars in association with Goa Headmasters Association.
Hello students, welcome you all. In previous chapter, you have studied about the age of revolution. What is industrial revolution? Means what is the definition of industrial revolution? The industrial revolution defined as the fundamental changes in the means of production, distribution and exchange of commodities, which was the result of series of inventions and discoveries. It was a continuous process of developing the manufacture process and industries. And thus, this was the reason that's why the industrial revolution had taken place into two stages. The first stage had started from 1750 to 1850 and it began from 1850 and still it is in progress. This is the second stage. Students, let's study more about this second stage in our today's topic. The name of our lesson is Post-Industrialization Age. In this lesson, we are going to study about the different transformation that had taken place due to the industrial. The first question comes in our mind, what changes did the noisy revolution, that is the industrial revolution, bring about? The noisy industrial revolution had brought about radical changes not only in the economic sphere but also in the political, social and cultural setup of the society where it had taken place. There was no sphere of human activity which was not affected by this economic revolution. These changes were varied in nature and had taken place at different levels. The second question, and this question is related to our chapter, what were the different transformations taken place due to the industrial revolution? First, it led to the establishment of factory system. Look at the picture, the industrialized city during the 18th century. This system led to urbanization of the industrialized society, which were the center of production. This led to the overcrowding of the urban areas, which put a pressure on its infrastructure. As we know, these rural people migrating from rural villages to the cities in search of job, which led to the overcrowding of these urban areas. This problem faced by the England in England cities like Manchester and Leeds, which had witnessed maximum number of people settling over there. Look at the picture of Manchester and Leeds during the Industrial Revolution. These different industries had employed both the skilled as well as unskilled laborers. The skilled laborers were professional. They were required to carry out the tasks in the industries. For helping them, unskilled laborers were also hired in these urban industries. And therefore, these urban areas were looked upon as the perennial source of employment. Perennial source of employment means the people had faith that they would get the job. They had the guarantee of job in urban areas. That's why these landless farmers in the villages who then flocked in large number to the urban areas. What happened to the cities after industrialization? The industrial revolution led to the rise of capitalist economy. There were two important classes, capitalist and laborer. So this capitalist economy created economic inequality existed to a large extent. Let us study about this capitalist economy by differentiating these two classes, capitalist and laborers. The capitalists who had owned the factories, laborers who had no access to the ownership of the means of production and so work in the factory for low wages. The capitalists had the support of the government who framed the laws to protect their interest, whereas the laborers who were living in poverty life were working for many hours under unhygienic conditions, and there was no laws to protect laborers' interest. The capitalists, in order to earn huge profits, would exploit the laborers, whereas the laborers led very miserable poverty life. You can see this pyramid of capitalist system. It is focused on social stratification, social classification by social class and economic inequality. What was the effect of industrialization on family? This question do come in our board exam. Why was the family life adversely affected in the post-industrialized society? In the post-industrialized society, the family, which was the basic unit of the society, was adversely affected. Let us see the reasons. The low wages earned by the head of the family, and therefore all the family members, including the women, the children, had to look out for some sources of income. The family member did not get time to spend with each other. The children were either sent to work or kept alone at home. Children were neglected, and this led to the rise of street children. To portray this industrial revolution condition the people were facing, a number of novels written which highlighted the evil side of the industrial revolution. One of them was Oliver Twist, which was written by Charles Dickens. What were the hardships faced by the laborers? The poor laborers who had to live in small houses. The houses did not have proper ventilation, no sanitary facilities. Unhygienic sanitary and housing conditions affected their health. Most of the poor people died due to starvation and malnutrition. Unsafe working condition and unhygienic living condition was very common in post-industrialized society. How pitiful life they were living. Look at this picture, crowded houses of laborers. The next, the industrial revolution had transformed the concept of leisure. Leisure means free time in the post-industrialized society. Before industrial revolution, earlier, it was the only rich class people who had ample of free time at their disposal, and they involved themselves in various activities during this free time. But after industrial revolution, in the post-industrialized society, due to the scientific and technological development, there was a change in the concept of leisure for the rich and the middle class people also. It was the development in printing technology which had revolutionized the reading habit of the people. We know Chinese had invented the art of printing, but it was the invention of the first printing press by John Gutenberg in Germany during the century, which had transformed the concept of reading among the people. Look at the image of John Gutenberg and his first printing press which he had invented. Earlier, reading was the privilege of the rich and the elite class. What were the reasons for this? Since books were very rare and it was expensive. Only rich and elite class had the required time. In post-industrialized societies, books were easily available at cheap prices since they were printed in large numbers. Thus, even the average middle class people were found indulging in reading. During this period, the reading culture has developed. See, people found reading as a source of knowledge. It was also a source of entertainment for them. You can look at the picture and see how they are enjoying their reading. The printing technology also promoted the circulation of the newspapers, which became a tool to spread and exchange ideas among the people as well as the nations. Even in the colonies, the newspaper which were published and had carried out the task to spreading nationalistic idea among the people and the leader. We know Lokmanya Tilak, who had published his two newspapers, Kesari and Maratha. Aurobindo Ghosh had published a newspaper called Bande Mataram. Bipin Chandra Pal published a newspaper called The New India. To spread these nationalist ideas among the people and the leaders, the newspaper played very important role. It provided the platform for the leader to express their views. It also made awareness of the exploitation of India's wealth and resources. And during this period, the journalism in India began during the colonial rule. A number of educated Indians contribute towards its development. The contribution of Rajaram Mohan Roy. We know Rajaram Mohan Roy, we have studied about Rajaram Mohan Roy in standard 8. Because of his effort, because of his contribution towards Indian society, he abolished sati system, promoted girl education and many more. He had published 3 journals in the first half of the 19th century. One of them was Samavad Kaumudi, which remained in circulation for a long period of time. Why did journal Samvad Kaumudi gain popularity? It contained articles which gave the real picture of the condition of the Indian society. It gave information of the exploitation and humiliation which the Indians had to face in colonial India. How did newspaper help the commercial class of traders? The newspaper were also used by the commercial class of the trader to advertise their product. Children, nowadays we have seen on many newspapers, many advertisements come. So their aim was and is to help them to increase their sales. The advertisements were also preferred by the publishers because it was a source of income for them. In post-industrialized society, a number of publishing houses were established in Europe and other countries. These publishing houses started publishing novels written on different subjects ranging from fiction to social themes. In Europe, from the 16th century onwards, novels of authors such as Charles Dickens, Jonathan Swift, H.G. Wells, E.M. Foster were widely read by the people throughout the world. Look at the picture. Charles Dickens, he had written the novel called Oliver Twist. Writer of Gulliver's Travel, Jonathan Swift. H.G. Wells, he had written a novel called Invisible Man. E.M. Foster, he had written a novel called Aspects of Novels. Even women authors like Jane Austen, Emily Bronte had become famous due to their writings. This depicted the changing role of women in the society. Jane Austen, she had written a book called Pride and Prejudice. Emily Bronte, she had written a novel called Wuthering Heights. In India, the novel writers like Bankim Chandra Chatterjee, Mulk Raj Anand, R.K. Narayan, Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore and many more were popularly read. This novel depicted the conditions of the Indian society of that period very effectively. Bankim Chandra Chatterjee had written a novel called Anand Math. R.K. Narayana, Malgudi Days. Rabindranath Tagore had written a novel called Gitanjali. Mulk Raj Anand had written a novel called Kuli. The post-industrialized society witnessed major event in the world history. The emergence of new political idea which had stressed the rights and privileges of common masses. The writing of French authors like Montesquieu, Rousseau, Voltaire had resulted in the French Revolution. Even in colonial India, writing of number of nationalistic leaders like Lokmanya Tilak, Swatantravir Savarkar, Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Mahatma Gandhi and many others had kept the flame of nationalism burning in the minds of Indians. This intellectual awakening had played a major role in bringing about the nationalist movement in Asia and Africa. So, this major transformation had resulted in the emergence of society which was totally different from the society of the ancient and medieval ages. It was a society which had recognized the rights and privileges of every person irrespective of his political, social and economic status in the society, and it marked the beginning of the modern age. Students, have a glance on this lesson what we studied. We have studied the different transformation due to the Industrial Revolution. First, it led to the establishment of factory system which established new cities. After rural class migrated from urban areas, from rural areas to urban areas, overcrowded the cities, industrialized city. In this industrialized urban city, it gave rise to capitalist economy. Therefore, we had seen the two important classes, the owner of the factories called capitalists and the laborers who were earning low wages, who had been exploited by these capitalist people who had lot of money. Even the family life was affected. We had seen how adversely family life was affected. No time for family members, children's neglected, unhygienic conditions, starvation and malnutrition. We had also seen the concept of leisure change, concept of free time change. Rich and middle class got the time to read. They used the time for other activities. Printing technology revolutionized the reading habit. The first printing press which was invented by John Gutenberg in Germany. Now books became cheaper and easily available, which led to the widespread circulation of newspaper. It spread the ideas, it spread the nationalistic idea. In India, many national leaders use this newspaper as a tool, as a medium to spread nationalistic ideas. They share the views. Even through these papers, people made aware of this Indian exploitation. We studied about the Raja Ram Mohan Roy. He published Samavad Kaumudi journal, which gained a popularity because it highlighted the condition of the Indian society. It highlighted the exploitation and humiliations of Indians, and thus it marked the beginning of Indian journalism in colonial India. It led to the growth of advertisement. Advertisements were used to sell products to make money. It led to the growth of publishing houses. Many novels were published. Novels like Oliver Twist, Gulliver's Travel, Invisible Man, aspects of novels. In India too, novels like Anandmat, Coolie, Gitanjali, Malgudi Days, etc. Women writer novels, example Pride and Prejudice, Wuthering Heights, etc. gain popularity after this industrial revolution. It also led to the growth of new political ideas. It emphasized the rights and privileges of common masses. The French philosophers Montesquieu, Rousseau and Voltaire's idea also cherished throughout the world. In India, the great leaders like Lokmanya Tilak, Swatantraveer Savarkar, Mahatma Gandhi, they also got influenced and they influenced the Indian people, and thus new society emerged which recognized the rights and privileges of every person, and it was the beginning of modern age. Thank you students. This is the small lesson from history chapters. Thank you one and all.